Paradise. That's what I thought I was moving to. White sand beaches, cheap rent, beautiful women who appreciated a good man. A place where my money would last forever and I could finally live the life I deserved. I sold everything I owned in America, cashed up my 401k, paid the penalty, packed my bags, and moved to the Philippines with $127,000. That was supposed to last me nothing less than 15 years. It lasted 3. I'm Donald, 57 years old, and I'm about to tell you how I went from planning my dream, retirement in the Philippines, to sleeping on the streets of Manila with just $340 in my pocket and a one-way ticket home that I had to borrow from the U.S. Embassy. This isn't a story about getting scammed by a stranger. It's worse than that. It's a story about scamming yourself, about ignoring every single warning sign because you're so desperate to believe that someone, somewhere, finally sees value in you no one sees back, and by the time you realize what's happening, it's too late. Very late. Everything's gone. Let me take you back to where this all started. Detroit, Michigan. February 2019. I'd been driving for FedEx for 23 years. The same routes, the same packages, the same customers who barely looked up when I rang the doorbell. My alarm went off at 4:45 every morning. Same time. Every day. I'd drag myself out of bed, make instant coffee that tasted like burnt rubber, and drive to the depot in the dark. Load the truck, check the manifests, hit the road by 6:30, repeat until my knees gave out, or my back finally snapped, or I just stopped caring. I was 52 years old, divorced twice. The first marriage ended when I was 26. We got married too young, too broke, and I would say too stupid. It lasted 3 years before she left me for a guy who owned a body shop. The second marriage lasted longer, almost 12 years, but my God, it felt like 50. She wanted kids. I couldn't give her any. Tried for years, doctors, tests, treatments. Nothing worked. It was crazy, I know, but eventually she stopped looking at me the same way, stopped talking to me the same way, and one day she just said, I can't do this anymore. So she left, and I stayed in that one-bedroom apartment in Dearborn that smelled like old carpet and someone else's cooking. I'd come home after 10-hour shifts, microwave something, and sit in front of the TV until I fell asleep in my recliner. That was my life. 52 years old, no wife, no kids, no tangible savings to speak of. Just a job that was slowly killing me, and an apartment that felt like a waiting room for death. And that's when I ran into Danny. I hadn't seen him in maybe 8 years. We'd worked together back in the early 2000s, back when we both still had longer hair and hope. I was at the Mayor on Woodward Avenue, buying frozen dinners and cheaper beer when I heard someone call my name. Don? Don Martinez? Holy shit, man. I turned around and barely recognized him. Danny looked different, tan, relaxed, 10 years younger. Danny. What the hell are you doing back in Detroit? Just visiting my daughter for a few weeks, he said, grinning. I live in the Philippines now, have for the past 5 years. The Philippines. I'd heard about it, seen videos online, but I didn't know anyone who'd actually done it. You serious? Dead serious. Best move I ever made, man. We grabbed coffee at the Coney Island across the street, and for the next 2 hours Danny painted me a picture of paradise. He told me about his house. 3 bedrooms, ocean view, maid service twice a week. Rent, he said, $300 a month. Try finding that in Detroit. He told me about his wife, 28 years old, beautiful, treated him like the president. She cooks every meal, Don, takes care of me, doesn't nag, doesn't complain. She's just happy. He told me about the cost of living. Dinners for $2, beers for 50 cents, massages for $5. You could live like royalty over there on your pension, he said. Hell, you could live on half of what you're spending now and have twice the life. He even showed me photos on his phone. Him and his wife on a boat, him at a beach bar, him sitting on a balcony overlooking the ocean. In every photo he looked genuinely happy. Not fake happy, not I'm trying to convince myself happy. Just at peace. I'm telling you, Don, he said, leaning in like he was sharing a secret. If you're tired of this shit, and I know you are, There's a better way. You just gotta have the balls to do it. I went home that night and couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Danny's words. There's a better way. Was there? I started researching. Typed retire in the Philippines into Google and fell down a rabbit hole I'd never climb out of. Expat forums, YouTube channels, Facebook groups, thousands of guys, mostly American, mostly older, talking about their lives in the Philippines. And they all said the same thing. It was paradise. The women were beautiful, loyal, traditional. They appreciated a man who worked hard and provided, not like back home, who, according to the forums, only cared about money and status and treated men like disposable income. In the Philippines, a Western man with even a modest income was valuable. You could be somebody. You could be respected, desired, appreciated. I spent hours every night watching videos. Guys showing off their houses, their girlfriends, their lifestyles. I'm living on $800 a month, and I've never been happier. My girlfriend is 26, and she treats me better than any American woman ever did. This is what retirement should look like. The more I watched, the more I wanted it. I started calculating. If I cashed out my 401k early, I'd take a penalty, but I'd still walk away with around $127,000. If I lived modestly, really modestly, that could last me 15 years, maybe more. By then, I'd be almost 70, if I made it that long. And honestly, I wasn't sure I wanted to, but if I could spend the next 15 years living well, being happy, feeling wanted, wasn't that better than dying slowly in a Dearborn apartment? In May 2019, I booked a 2-week trip to Manila, just to see, just to test the waters as everyone recommended. I told my supervisor at FedEx I needed time off for a family emergency. He didn't ask questions. The flight was long, uncomfortable, I barely slept. But when I landed at the airport and stepped outside, something inside me shifted. Manila was chaos, traffic, noise, pollution, people everywhere, but it was alive in a way Detroit hadn't been in decades. I stayed at a budget hotel in Makati, nothing fancy but clean enough, and spent my days wandering around, getting a feel for the city. And my nights? I spent my nights in the bars. The first bar I walked into was in Burgo Street, a strip known for nightlife. The moment I stepped inside, 3 women approached me, smiling, friendly, asking where I was from, if I wanted company, if they could sit with me. I bought them drinks. We talked. They laughed at my jokes. For the first time in years, I felt wanted. Not tolerated, not ignored, wanted. Over the next 2 weeks, I went to bars almost every night. Different places, different women. Same feeling. They asked about my life, touched my arm when they talked, made me feel like I mattered. I wasn't just another invisible delivery driver. I was an American. I had money. I had value. By the end of the trip, I'd spent close to $1,200 just on bar tabs and lady drinks. But I didn't care, because for the first time in a long time, I felt alive. I flew back to Detroit with my mind made up. I was moving to the Philippines. It took me 6 months to get everything in order. I gave my notice at FedEx. My supervisor didn't try to talk me out of it, just nodded and said, "Good luck, Don." I sold my car, a beat-up 2009 Honda Civic that barely ran for $1,800. I sold my furniture on Craigslist, my couch, my bed, my TV, all of it. I closed my bank accounts, cashed out my 401k, and dealt with the penalties and taxes. When the dust settled, I had $127,000. Not a fortune, but more money than I'd ever had at one time in my life. I did the math over and over. If I lived on $700 a month, rent, food, entertainment, that money would last me 15 years. By then, I'd be 67. If I made it that far, I'd figure something out. But 15 years of actually living? That sounded better than 30 years of slowly dying. I applied for a special resident retirees visa, SRRV, which required depositing some money in a Philippine bank, which I could access later if I needed it. I booked the ticket to Manila. I landed with $127,000 in the bank and a dream. The first few months were everything I'd hoped for. I rented a small studio condo in Quezon City, near a mall, near restaurants, near almost everything. The building had security, a pool, even a little gym. $450 a month. Back in Detroit, I'd been paying $900 for a place half the size, with roaches and a landlord who never fixed anything. I spent my days exploring, walked through malls, ate at cheap restaurants, took jeepneys just to see where they went, and at night I'd go to the bars. Burgos Street became my regular spot. I'd rotate between a few different places: Pegasus, L.A. Cafe, Dollhouse. The routine was always the same. Walk in, buy a drink, girls approach, buy them drinks, talk, laugh, feel wanted. Some nights I'd bring someone back to my condo. Other nights I'd just pay the bar fine, a fee to take the girl out of the bar, and we'd grab something, walk around, talk. It felt good, but it was also expensive. I was spending $50 to $100 a night, sometimes more. $700 a month turned into $1,200, then $1,500. At that rate, my money wouldn't last 15 years. It'd last maybe half. I needed to adjust my strategy. I needed a girlfriend, someone stable, someone who'd actually stick around. I tried the dating apps first, but the women on those sites all wanted the same thing. Not directly, not at first, but it always came up. My phone is broken. Can you help me get a new one? My mother is sick. I need money for her medicine. I want to take English classes, but I can't afford it. Every conversation eventually led to a request. I got tired of it, so I went back to the bars. I was at a karaoke bar in Malade. The place was really loud, crowded, full of locals, and a few foreigners scattered around. I was sitting at the bar, nursing a San Miguel, when she approached. Her name was Liza, 26 years old, long black hair that went down to her waist, skin like caramel, smile that could stop traffic. She wasn't dressed like the other girls. No tight dress, no heavy makeup, just jeans and a simple top. You sing? She asked, nodding toward the karaoke stage. I laughed. Not unless you want people leaving. She smiled. I think you have nice voice. You haven't heard me yet. Maybe I want to. We talked for hours. She told me she was from Bukidnon, a province in Mindanao. Rural, poor. Her family were farmers. She'd moved to Manila 3 years ago to find work. Sent money home every month. She worked at the karaoke bar, serving drinks and managing the song queue. She wasn't a bar girl in the traditional sense. She didn't drink with customers, didn't go home with them. She just worked, and she was smart. She asked me about America, about my life, about why I moved to the Philippines. I told her the truth, that I was tired, that I wanted something different, that I was looking for a place where I could actually enjoy life. She nodded like she understood. Philippines is good for that, she said. Life here is simple. People are happy even when they don't have much. We exchanged numbers before I left that night, and over the next 2 weeks we texted constantly. She'd send me photos of her day, cooking breakfast, commuting on the MRT, hanging out with co-workers. She never asked for money, never hinted at it. She just talked to me like I was a person, not a wallet. 3 weeks after we met, I asked her to move in with me. I know that sounds fast, but here's the thing. I was still spending $1,000 plus a month going to bars, buying drinks, paying bar fines. If Liza moved in, I wouldn't need to do that anymore. I'd have companionship, stability, someone to come home to, and it'd save me money. When I brought it up, she hesitated. Donald, I don't want you to think I am that kind of girl. I don't think that. I think you're different, and I want to see where this goes. She thought about it for 2 days. Then she said yes. The first month was perfect. She cooked, cleaned, took care of me. We'd spend our days exploring the city, Intramuros, Rizal Park, malls, street food markets. At night we'd watch movies on my laptop or just talk. She told me about her family. Her father grew corn and rice on a small plot of land. Her mother sold vegetables at the local market. She had 3 younger siblings, 2 brothers and a sister, all still in school. Money was tight, always had been. She'd been sending them 5,000 pesos a month, $100, since she started working. It's my responsibility, she said. I'm the oldest. I have to help. I respected that. Hell, I admired it. She wasn't selfish. She was dutiful, loyal. That's rare. But after about 6 weeks, she brought something up. We were lying in bed one night when she said, "Baby, I need to talk to you about something. My father is sick. He has problem with his lungs, coughing all the time. Doctors say he need medicine, but it's expensive." "How much?" "Maybe 15,000 pesos a month for 3 months." I did the math. That was about $300 a month, still cheaper than what I'd been spending at the bars. And if it helped her family... "Okay," I said. "I'll help." She cried, real tears. "You're so good, man, Donald. I'm so lucky." I felt good about it. I was helping. I was being useful, but the $300 didn't stop after 3 months. Her father got better, but then her mother needed dental work. Then her brother's motorcycle broke down, and he needed it for work. Then her sister's school fees were due. There was always something, and I couldn't say no, because she was my girlfriend. Her family was struggling, and I had money. What kind of man would I be if I didn't help? So I kept sending. $300 a month turned into $500, then $700. But I told myself it was fine. I was still spending less than I would have been at the bars. And Liza was happy. Her family was grateful. That was worth something. In August 2020, Liza brought up marriage. We were sitting on the balcony of my condo, watching the traffic below, when she said, "Baby, do you ever think about getting married?" I hesitated. I mean, yeah, someday. "What about us?" I looked at her. "You want to get married?" "I think it would be good. For us, for my family. It would make them feel secure, like you are serious about me." I thought about it. Marriage made sense. If we were married, I could withdraw the $20,000 I deposited from my visa, use that money for investments or emergencies, and it would make Liza feel secure. She'd stop worrying about me leaving. Plus, it wasn't like I was getting any younger. If I was going to do this, now was the time. "Okay," I said. "Let's do it." She squealed and hugged me. We got married at the Quezon City Hall 2 weeks later. Small ceremony. Her family came up from Mindanao. We had a simple reception at a restaurant in Cubao. It cost about $2,000 all in. Not bad, and for the first time in a long time, I felt like I was building something real. A life, a family, a future. But after the wedding, things started to change. The monthly allowance went from $700 to $900. "Baby, now that we're married, I need to help my family more. They expect it." Then $1,200. "My brother wants to start a small business, just 20,000 pesos to get started. We can get it back when he makes money." We never got it back. Then Liza started talking about moving to her province. "It's too expensive here in Manila," she said. "In my village we can live for almost nothing. Save money." That made sense. Rent alone was $450 a month. Food was another $300. Utilities, transportation, everything else. It added up. If we moved to her village, we could cut our expenses in half, maybe more. So we started splitting our time. 2 months in Manila, 1 month in Bukidnon. The village was different. No malls, no restaurants, no movie theaters. Just rice fields, dirt roads, and her family's small nipa hut with no running water. But Liza was happier there. Her family treated me so well. Even her father would cook lechon for me. Her mother would make sure I had the best seat at dinner. Her siblings called me Kuya Donald, big brother. It felt good, like I was part of something. One night, about 3 months after we started splitting time between Manila and the province, Liza's father pulled me aside. We were sitting outside, drinking. "Donald," he said, "you are family now. Good man. You take care of my daughter." "I try," I said. "I want to give you and Liza something. Land." I looked at him. "Land?" "Yes, we have land. Family land. I give to you and Liza. You build house. Have your own place. No more rent. A house. My own house. In Detroit, I'd never been able to afford a house. I'd always rented, but here I could actually own something." "How much would it cost to build?" I asked. He shrugged. Depends. Simple house, maybe 1 million pesos. Nice house, maybe two. I did the math. 2 million pesos was about $40,000. That was a lot, but if it meant no more rent, no more moving back and forth, it could be worth it. Liza was thrilled when I brought it up. Baby, yes, we can have our own place. Beautiful house. You will love it. We met with a contractor the next week. Drew up plans. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, concrete walls, tile floors, balcony overlooking the rice fields. The quote came back at 1.8 million pesos, about $35,000. I wired the money. The house took 8 months to build. I'd visit every few weeks to check on progress, watch the walls go up, the roof get installed, the tiles laid. It was slow, frustrating. Filipino time, they called it. But eventually it was finished, and it was beautiful. 3 bedrooms, open kitchen, big windows, balcony with a view. It felt like a dream. Liza cried when she saw it. This is our home, baby, our forever home. I believed her, but there was one problem. The land was in her father's name. Under Filipino law, foreigners can't own land, only buildings, so technically the house was mine, but the land it sat on belonged to her family. Liza assured me it was fine. Filipino law, baby. It's normal, but we're married. It's the same thing. This is ours. I wanted to believe her. So I did. After the house was finished, Liza brought up getting a car. Baby, we also need car. It's so hard getting around here. Tricycle is slow. Jeepney is crowded. If we have car, life is so much easier. She was right. The province wasn't like Manila. There was no Grab, no Uber, just tricycles and jeepneys. If we had a car, we could go to the city whenever we wanted. Run errands, visit family. It made sense. We found a used Toyota Vios at a dealership in Cagayan de Oro. 2015 model. Clean. Low mileage. $12,000. I didn't think twice. I wired the money. By now I'd spent over $50,000. The house, the car, monthly allowances, helping her family, but I still had about $70,000 left. If I was careful, that could last me another 7, 8 years. But Liza had other ideas. Baby, we should start business, make money, so we don't just spend. That made even more sense. I didn't want to just sit around and slowly burn through my savings. If we could generate income, we could stretch the money even further, maybe even grow it. Liza's uncle knew someone who ran a chili farm. Chilies are big business here, Liza said. We grow, we sell to distributors, easy money. We met with her uncle's contact, a guy named Jun, who'd been farming chilies for over 10 years. He showed us his setup, irrigation, greenhouses, workers. It looked legit. He said we could start small, invest 400,000 pesos, $8,000 to get up and running. Within 6 months we'd be profitable. Within a year we'd have made back our investment and more. It sounded good. I wired the money. The first few months everything seemed fine. Jun sent us photos. The chilies were growing. The irrigation was working. Then, about 4 months in, Jun called. Someone had stolen the irrigation equipment, cut the pipes, took the pumps, everything. Without irrigation, the chilies died. We lost everything. $8,000. Gone. Liza was upset. I'm so sorry, baby. This is my fault. I should have known June couldn't be trusted. It's not your fault, I said. It's just bad luck. But deep down, I was starting to worry. 2 months later, Liza had another idea. Baby, we should do fish farm. More secure than chilies. Fish can't be stolen. Her cousin knew someone who ran a successful tilapia farm. We could dig ponds on her family's land, buy fingerlings, hire workers. Within 6 months we'd be harvesting fish and selling to markets. The startup cost, 550,000 pesos, about $11,000. I hesitated. We just lost $8,000 on the chili farm, but Liza insisted. This time will be different, baby. I promise. I wired the money. 3 months in, a typhoon hit. It wasn't even a big one, Category 2, but it was enough. The ponds flooded. The fish washed away. Another total loss, $11,000, gone. By now, I'd spent close to $70,000. I had about $55,000 left. I was starting to panic, but Liza had one more idea. Baby, my cousin does buy and sell used cars. He makes good money. We just need capital to start. I asked how much. 750,000 pesos, about $15,000. I didn't want to do it at all. But then again, Liza insisted, this is our last chance, baby. If this doesn't work, we stop, I promise. Against my better judgment, I agreed. I wired $15,000 again. The cars never sold, or maybe they did, and I just never saw the money. Liza's cousin always had excuses. The buyer backed out. The paperwork got delayed. I'm waiting for the right price. It's worth more than what they're offering. After 6 months, the rate at which I was asking reduced, because by then I had bigger problems. I didn't want to check my bank account. I knew what I'd find. I remember that very morning, lying in bed in our beautiful house that I'd built but didn't exactly own. I forced myself to log in. $4,200. That was it. Out of $127,000, I had $4,200 left. I sat there, staring at the screen, trying to figure out where it all went. The house, $35,000. The car, $12,000. Monthly allowances over 3 years, $25,000. The chili farm, $8,000. The fish farm, $11,000. The car business, $15,000. Random expenses, emergencies, helping family ranged to about $18,000. Total was around $124,000, and it was gone in 3 years. Also, we've sold the car months earlier. Convinced her that we weren't using it that much, so it's better to sell now before it loses its value even more. And that's what even make us last that long. That night I told Liza, while we were sitting on the balcony. She was scrolling through her phone. Liza, we need to talk. She looked up. What is it, baby? I'm out of money. She blinked. What do you mean? I mean I have $4,200 left. That's it. Her face changed. Not sad, not worried, but annoyed. How? You have so much money when you come here. I spent it on the house, the car, the businesses, helping your family. But you have pension, right? From America? I don't have a pension, Liza. I cashed out my 401k. That was all the money I had. Her face went cold. So you have nothing? I have a little, but not enough to keep living like this. She stood up, walked inside, came back 5 minutes later with an envelope. She counted out 18,000 pesos, was about $340. Here, take this. I stared at her. What? You need to go back to America. Liza, you ruined my life, Donald. Those words hit me like a real fist. What? You said you would take care of me. You said we would build future. Now you have nothing. I can't stay with man who has nothing. Everything I spent was for you, for us. The house, the car, the businesses. House is not yours. Car that is not there anymore. Sold. You have absolutely nothing. I sat there, numb. She called her cousin, told him to drive me to the bus station in Malaybalay. Within 2 hours I was on a bus to Cagayan de Oro with a backpack, $340, and no plan. The bus ride to Cagayan took 4 hours. I stared out the window the whole time, watched the rice fields pass by, the small villages, the life I thought I'd built, all of it slipping away. When I got to Cagayan, I caught another bus to Manila, 12 hours, overnight. I arrived at 6 a.m. I had nowhere to go, no apartment, no friends, no plan. I spent the first night on a bench in Rizal Park, slept with my backpack clutched to my chest, woke up at 3 a.m. to find someone going through my pockets. They got some of the money before I even realized what was happening. The next day I went to the U.S. Embassy, told them I was an American citizen, that I was broke, that I needed help getting home. The consular officer was polite but firm. We can provide you with a repatriation loan. That's a one-time emergency loan to cover your flight home, but you'll have to pay it back. How much? About $1,200. I didn't have a choice. I signed the paperwork. They booked me on a flight to Los Angeles 3 days later. I spent those 3 days around the airport, sleeping on benches, eating whatever I could afford from 7-Eleven, watching families come and go, watching foreigners with their foreign girlfriends, holding hands, smiling. I wanted to warn them. I wanted to tell them to be careful, to pay attention, to not ignore the signs, but I didn't, because they wouldn't listen, just like I didn't. I landed in Los Angeles on a Wednesday afternoon. I had $190 in my pocket, no phone, no car, no plan. I called my elder sister from a payphone at the airport. She picked up on the third ring, asked if I stay with you for a little while, just until I figure things out. She sighed. Yeah, okay, I'll come pick you up. I stayed on her couch in Pasadena for 3 months. She didn't ask many questions, just let me be. I spent most of my time staring at the ceiling, replaying every decision, every ignored warning sign. Every moment I chose hope over reality. In January 2024, I got a job at a warehouse in Ontario, $16 an hour, loading trucks, moving boxes, the same kind of work I'd been doing before, except now I was 62 instead of 42 or 52. My knees hurt more, my back hurt more, but I didn't have a choice. It's been almost 3 years now, 3 years since I came back to America with $190 and a borrowed plane ticket. This is what I have to say. If you're thinking about moving to the Philippines or Thailand or Vietnam or anywhere because you're lonely and think a younger woman will fix that, don't. She won't. You'll lose more than money. You'll lose years. You'll lose dignity. You'll lose the future you thought you were building. I lost everything. Don't be like me. The clock is ticking for all of us. Don't waste your time chasing a dream that was never real.